Hey, what's up, folks? We have a good show for you today. So the Wall Street Journal somehow obtained some new Jeffrey Epstein documents showing meetings he had that weren't previously released. These meetings included with William Burns, the current director of the CIA, Noam Chomsky, famous left-wing progressive intellectual, and Catherine Rumler, who served under Barack Obama, met with Epstein's dozens of times in the year between her White House career and her next job as an attorney at Goldman Sachs. We're going to talk about it, look into that story, and then move on to the next. CNN announced that Donald Trump is going to do a town hall on CNN. What's interesting is Trump is already saying he's thinking about not doing the Republican debates, but he has no problem giving CNN ratings.
And just into CNN, former President Donald Trump will participate in a CNN presidential town hall next week.
And speaking of CNN, he's apparently one of the only people still counting COVID cases as a propaganda method, because he's on True Social using COVID case data in Florida to say that Florida did a bad job because of COVID cases. Is this guy a Republican or is he a boomer CNN establishment Democrat? It's really hard for me to tell, and I pray that people challenge this guy, because this type of out-of-context propaganda should have been left in 2020 where it belongs. God bless you guys. Welcome to the Dream Rare Podcast. Show starts now. It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Dream Rare Podcast. I have a second story, but the first one's the most important. I want to talk about that. It's the Wall Street Journal somehow got their hands on some Epstein documents, and they revealed that the current CIA director met with him, this Goldman Sachs Obama lady that we're going to talk about and read the article, and also Noam Chomsky intellectual. Before I read, I have a New York Post article. The Wall Street Journal was begging me for the paywall. Sorry, Wall Street Journal. I just went with New York Post on the scoop, but I know that they got the scoop. Before I read it, I want to say this. Imagine the balls of steel you have to be that Wall Street Journal reporter that's bringing new Epstein documents to light. Balls of steel. Or you just go into work and they somehow obtained them and they're like, hey, Johnny, you should write this Epstein story. He's like, wait, do I have to be the one to publish it? They're like, yeah, you publish it. Here, we got these new documents revealing that the CIA director met with Epstein. You want to publish this? He's like, not really, It's a good scoop for your career, but my gosh, that must have been frightening for whoever dropped this article. But anyway, let's read it. This is the Post. It's in the Wall Street Journal, but the list of Jeffrey Epstein's possible connections now include America's spy chief, a college president, and a former Obama White House counsel, according to a collection of previously unreported documents that included the convicted sex offender schedules. The trove of papers obtained by Wall Street Journal show meetings between Epstein and several prominent people, including 3 with William Burns, the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, while he was the Deputy Secretary of State in 2014. These prominent people have not been accused of any wrongdoing, and all have maintained that their connections with Epstein were purely professional or social. None of these names appeared in Epstein's black book of contacts, the journal reported, or in the flight logs of the passengers who traveled on his private jet. It's also not clear what the purpose of each meeting was or if every appointment actually happened, the paper said. Catherine Rumler, who served as the White House counsel under President Barack Obama, met with Epstein dozens of times in the years between her White House career and her job as an attorney at Goldman Sachs, the report said. Epstein had also planned for her to be on 2 trips with him, a 2015 visit to Paris and a 2017 journey to his private island in the Caribbean, according to Wall Street Journal. Most of the people included in the thousands of pages of emails and schedules from 2013 to 2017 told the Journal that they met with Epstein because of his wealth and because of his connections. So Catherine Rumler served under Barack Obama and met with Epstein dozens of times in her years between White House and Goldman Sachs. White House, Goldman Sachs, White House, Goldman Sachs. That's like a metaphor for, if I could think of one metaphor for American politics, it would be like White House, Goldman Sachs, White House, Goldman Sachs, Epstein, 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 Goldman Sachs, White House. Just going between those 3 things is like a perfect, I don't know if it would be considered a metaphor, but I would say a symbol It's the perfect symbolism for American politics. Banking, Epstein, White House. Let's keep reading. Epstein, a registered sex offender, brokered the meetings after he served prison time in 2008 for a sex crime involving a teenage girl, the report said. The documents show Noam Chomsky, the author, activist, and professor, was scheduled to fly with Epstein and have a dinner at his Manhattan home in 2015. Leon Botstein, the longtime president at Bard College, met with Epstein several times and even invited him to the campus, according to the Journal. Epstein, Botstein, Noam Chomsky. What do they all have in common? Nothing. Nothing at all. Let's keep reading. Some said that they thought he had been rehabilitated. Others said that more personal aims. Botstein said he was trying to get Epstein to donate to his school, while Chomsky said he wanted to discuss political and academic subjects with the well-connected financier. Noam Chomsky just wanted to kick it with Epstein and see what he thought about politics and academic subjects. Sure, Noam Chomsky, I bet you did. Maybe he did, honestly. Who knows? I'm not, innocent till proven guilty, but we'll talk about it. Anyway, Epstein had been a lightning rod for intrigue, controversy, and conspiracy theories since he hanged himself in the Manhattan jail cell on August 10th, 2019, while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. A repeat offender, Epstein had been accused of sexually abusing girls in Florida, some at the age of 14 years old. He cut a deal with prosecutors in 2008 and pleaded guilty to state charges, soliciting and procuring a minor for prostitution. Under a secret agreement, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Miami agreed not to pursue federal prosecution. Wow. So, new documents not in the black books, just showing how far his reach spanned. Because people are like, well, who flew on his flight logs? So apparently these three people were not on the flight logs. Not everybody was flying with them. Some people were meeting with them. I mean, what can you really say about that story that hasn't already been said? Jeffrey Epstein appeared to be this high-level, well-connected human trafficker. And, most people think that he was also involved in a blackmail scheme. How that worked, how it was so powerful. I mean, this is probably the greatest story in modern world history when it comes to a massive, massive bombshell that just doesn't ever seem to get to the bottom of it. He's meeting with the CIA director. He's meeting with Noam Chomsky. He's hanging out with Trump. And I'm not blaming Trump. I know people are going to cry. I'm just saying this guy was everywhere. You can find videos of him dancing with Donald Trump. Ghislaine Maxwell's in the background around Elon Musk. You know what I'm saying? Democrats, Republicans, this guy was everywhere. He had his tentacles everywhere. I'm not saying everybody's guilty, but who was this guy? Who was he working for? What was he doing? And how did he have so much success for so long? How did he get out of, jail time, federal prosecutions? This guy knew everyone. It seems like he controlled a lot of people and had a lot of influence over everything. I mean, it's just wild. I think everybody has some sort of idea of what's going on. And to me, this is a huge story that just dropped. Is anyone else covering it? I would assume I'm not the only one. I would assume a lot of conservative media is covering it, etc., maybe even liberal media. But for such a big story, I really heard not much about it. I almost kind of scrolled over it. I was like, this seems big. No, we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I think this is really it's like a Jenga. You pull this piece out, a lot of the house of cards collapses. So that's why this piece never seems to get pulled out very often, because I think it involves a lot of people and, it goes deep. So we'll see what happens. Thank you, Wall Street Journal, for releasing this, and balls of steel to whoever the journalist was that dropped this article. That must have been pretty scary. I'm not saying to be afraid. You shouldn't fear, but it's damn, imagine waking up and being like, yo, let's drop the new Epstein story. I'm going to be the guy that does it. It's sheesh. Thank you. Thank you for your bravery. Second story I want to talk about, let me know in the comments too. I think I'm going to, at the end, I'll allow for comments. I have a pretty short thing today. Let me know what you guys think. I saw a lot of people saying Mossad in the comment section, which is Israeli intelligence. Clearly, he was meeting with American intelligence. How far that control apparatus went or what was really going on, maybe that will be revealed. I don't know. Maybe someone already has done reporting on it that I haven't fully seen, but let me know. I'll read some comments at the end. So I want to, oh no, something I tried to upload didn't even upload. I'm going to have to drag it real quick. But the second story I wanted to talk about is I saw this on True Social. I'm going to put it on the screen real quick just so you could see. And yeah, let's see. So this is Trump on True Social. He wrote, "So explain, why did Ron DeSantis do a good job? Highly overrated. New York had fewer COVID cases." And, I think everybody stopped counting COVID cases like 2 years ago. That was left-wing Democrat, deep state. I'm not going to say propaganda, but they were using the COVID cases to be like, oh, look, you have COVID cases. That means we need to lock down. You have COVID. Like, even CNN and Democrats have stopped counting COVID cases because it makes no sense on any metric to just count cases of COVID. What's the death rate? How are they counting? What are the PCR tests being used? Are they even using PCR tests? These are the questions that's going to free humanity in America is why are they counting COVID cases? Questions that you're not allowed to ask, like why did this flu numbers drastically drop? And, is there any correlation between this and this? But this is, I guess, his strategy to try to make DeSantis look bad is Trump is morphing into a CNN Democrat from 2020 and basically regurgitating Fauci-style propaganda that you must have done a really bad job in Florida if you have COVID cases. Like, this is how low this guy's fallen. And it seems like nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to call it out and address it. And the reason I keep doing it is because I don't feel like I'm a victim to the left. I don't feel like I'm a victim to the deep state or I'm a victim to the election. I feel like if Republicans are this weak, foolish, and naive that their leader is hawking vaccines harder than Bill Gates like a MyPillow, and he's on True Social in 2023 spewing stupid COVID case propaganda without explaining how they're even counting and how COVID cases doesn't matter, it's the death rate, and how also the death rate is janky when they're counting so psychotically. Like, I've done dozens of reports on this from 2020 until now. Everybody knows this, except for Trump. You're being led by someone who's stupider and faker than everybody in your movement. And if Republicans don't want to address this and they just want to act like he's got to be the guy because it's just not Biden, I don't feel like we're the victim. I feel like Republicans deserve every failure, every falling short that they get, because this is like low level COVID propaganda that Trump's now spewing. Yes, COVID cases exist, but the real question is, how are they counting the cases? How does the PCR test work? Are they even using that for the modern cases? Is he doing per capita? He's not. He's so stupid and fake that he's not even talking about per capita. He's just like, look, there's cases in Florida. It's like, dude, this is so stupid. Trump is so dumb on COVID. It's like he makes Don Lemon look like, Noam Chomsky pre-Epstein meeting or what. I'm just winging it. I'm just saying it's like the lowest level form to not even talk about per capita, not even talk about the death rate, not even talk about how they're counting, and not even talk about PCR tests, and just be like, wow, Ron DeSantis is doing a bad job in Florida because there's COVID cases. Bro, it's 2023. Somebody shake Grandpa Moderna out of his vaccine slumber. This dude has morphed into a Democrat propagandist. Speaking of that, even though he doesn't seem to want to do the Republican primaries, we'll see if he changes his mind, he has no problem dumping a bunch of ratings into CNN. He'll be appearing on CNN Town Hall. So Donald Trump doesn't trust Ronna Romney McDaniel and Fox News to host a primary. Fair. But he's fine with CNN. They're not going to frame him out of context or anything. Donald Trump just loves giving money and attention to Democrats. It's his favorite pastime. Let's look.
And just into CNN, former President Donald Trump will participate in a CNN presidential town hall next week. The former president will take questions from New Hampshire Republicans and undeclared voters who do plan to vote in the 2024 GOP presidential primary.
Nice. So, I'm fine with being like, yo, Fox is corrupt. I don't want to give them my attention and money because I don't trust them. Fair. Fair. I don't have to agree with it. I still want to see you debate, but that's a valid thought process. that thought process now makes no sense, because if you're going to say Fox is not going to treat me fairly, but I'll go on CNN and do a town hall, and then I'll cry when they don't treat me fairly like they never do. It's like, why even give them the ratings? I don't understand. Vice is failing. Apparently, Vice is filing for bankruptcy. BuzzFeed News is falling apart. Left-wing media is falling apart. They have no narrative. Nobody cares about them. Nobody respects them. I think their negative coverage of Trump was really like keeping them afloat in some ways, and now it's all collapsing. Why even go to CNN and give them your attention? Doesn't make any sense. But I'm going to read a few comments. I guess I'm just going to end on this because I don't want to drag it out. To see him, after doing hundreds of videos, crunching the numbers, I've done, just if you want to go back, I don't want to like rehash it, but there's a lot of states that weren't even using PCR tests to test positive. If you were in certain states, I think Ohio was one of them. I can't remember. There were a bunch of states. It was like, if you just had a cold or you had, a bad sore throat and you told the doctor you were around someone with COVID, they were counting your cases as COVID. And I want to remind people this too. A lot of people forgot this angle because they didn't think about it. But in general, I've been diagnosed with the flu before COVID, probably like 3-4 times in my life. I don't know. I just got it's generic, right? You got the flu. We don't know what it is. It's not strep throat. You got the flu. I've never been tested in my entire life for the flu. Maybe you have. I haven't. I've never been tested for the flu. They go in and they say, what are your symptoms? I tell them my symptoms. They swab my throat for strep throat, because if you have strep throat, you need antibiotics, or they say you need antibiotics. I don't know. I take them. But anyway, if you don't have strep throat, the doctor just says you have the flu. He doesn't test you for the flu. He just says you have it. So when there's all these flu cases for the last 50 years, and then COVID comes to town, in certain states, they weren't even using the PCR test. They were straight up just being like, if you have a cough, and they had a 3-pronged system. I read the whole report. If you have this and you're around someone with COVID, then we diagnosed you with COVID even without having a PCR test. That's how flimsy the counting was in some areas. In others, they were using a PCR test, which I still don't agree with. I never once had that shoved up my nose, because I read a book on the founder and the, I would say, inventor of the PCR test, what he thought of it, the cycles, etc. And it's okay if people wanted to do that. I didn't. I understand the science behind it. I don't want them jamming a thing up my nose membrane. So I resisted that. The same way I resisted getting injected with mRNA against my will, I rejected the PCR test. Never once had it, never once wanted it, because I understood how it worked. And I also understood, Thomas Massey brought up that they did actually injure some people, and under the PrEP app, it's protected. So if they shove something, break your nose membrane, by a mistake, it's not like everyone did it, they're not going to pay for it. I'll pass. Thanks very much. I'll take my chances. But anyway, this is a narrative that frees you from COVID slavery. This is a narrative that is honest. The most dishonest narrative you could possibly say in 2023 is what Donald Trump's saying on Truth Social. He's saying New York had fewer COVID cases than Florida. Trump's counting COVID cases, not death rate, not speaking the truth about how the COVID cases are. If you have a lot of COVID cases but less deaths, that's actually a good thing. It's like, well, there's millions of COVID cases. Okay, well, if the death rate's low, that's what matters. But also, the death rate and the case rate doesn't matter if they're not counting accurately. So that's the narrative that everyone knows. Everyone knows that except for Donald Trump, who is now parading around acting like a CNN establishment Democrat, and nobody seems to care. All I'm going to say is this, and then I'll read some comments. Stop complaining about the left. Stop playing victim to 2020, and stop acting like you're being oppressed by the deep state. If you're willing to say, my leader of my movement is a guy who hawks vaccines harder than Bill Gates like a MyPillow, oversells it, hires pharmacy lobbyists, and then on 2023, he's regurgitating 2020 Democrat propaganda, counting COVID cases to try to make Ron DeSantis look bad, who ran circles around him when it came to the narrative around COVID. If that's your leader and you don't want to challenge him and you don't even want to say anything about it, you're just as stupid as a liberal. You're just as crazy. And if your narrative is Donald Trump hired pharmacy lobbyists, did vaccine socialism, and rushed these vaccines so they had the PrEP Act, so they had no liability for side effects and injuries, and Pfizer and Moderna made a cash cow, if you're so brainwashed that you say he did that to save the world, you're just as mentally ill as the left wingers. So stop calling them mentally ill. All I'm saying is don't play the victim unless you're going to wake up. The Republican base needs to snap out of it because it's getting clear that just like the left got intellectually lazy from 2016 to 2018 and they lost so much, the right is getting very, very intellectually lazy, very caught in their echo chamber. And quite frankly, it's disturbing how little critical thinking is going on. Because, I mean, for him to post this, what type of people is he surrounded by? Who's surrounding Donald Trump that he feels comfortable taking a CNN Democrat talking point from 2020 that no one's even doing because it's stupid for this year? It was stupid then too, but it's like he posts that and people are like, he's probably surrounded by the biggest snakes, the biggest opportunists, the biggest weasels, because that's who he likes to be surrounded by. He doesn't like a Thomas Massey who tells him the truth. He doesn't like a Candace Owens who challenges him once in a while. Donald Trump hates the truth. He hates to be challenged. He hates people who, break him out of the big pharma spell he's in, his little Bill Gates spiel. He just likes people who lick the dirt off his shoes. So he's surrounded by weasels, snakes, low IQ, just like slobbering fans. And, these are the type of people he posts some COVID propaganda. And they're like, that's true, Trump. Ron DeSantis has too many COVID cases. You really stuck it to Ron DeSantis, Trump. You're really crushing it, dude. Like, this is the level of people he's probably surrounded by. It's pathetic. This ship is going to sink one way or another, either with his entire base on it or without it. So I just hope people wake up because he needs to be challenged desperately. And to say he's thinking about skipping the Republican primary because he's so far ahead and he doesn't trust Fox, and then to turn around and give CNN ratings and do a CNN interview, it should tell you everything about this guy. He's better friends with Gavin Newsom because Gavin Newsom butters him up before he takes advantage of him, and Trump gets buttered up like a Thanksgiving turkey and doesn't even realize it. Lets the guy be authority. Oh, he's friends with me. Oh, yeah, he's such friends. Oh, CNN, they're really going to like you this time. You're really going to... If you're going to do a CNN town hall, it's fine. But then at least do a Fox News debate with other Republicans. Don't be like, I don't trust them, but he's such a Democrat. He's such a boomer establishment Democrat. And the mask is falling off who he pretended to be because his ego and his character flaws and narcissism are so severe that he's having the most epic character spiral and nobody seems to want to call it out. What a failed movement. I want no part of a movement that thinks that they're going to beat the deep state by worshiping a guy pushing 2020 COVID propaganda. I'm completely out. Someone said he's jealous of DeSantis. I'm not, and I've criticized DeSantis recently, but I really think so. And I'm not just saying that because if Trump wasn't jealous of DeSantis and he was just willing to combat him, Trump would be telling more truth than DeSantis. He would just be like, here's the truth. DeSantis sucks. Here's why I'm better. But Trump is so jealous. Jealousy is not true strength. Ego. It's like feeling insecure, so you start attacking other out of insecurity. That's clearly what he's doing because his talking point's not like, here's why I'm a better leader. He's like, Ron DeSantis is COVID cases. It's like he's so desperate to try to make DeSantis look bad that he doesn't care what it takes. It's like the lowest form of political attacks. I'm fine with a political attack. Just tell the truth. Don't turn into Don Lemon to try to beat DeSantis. Oh, you have so many COVID cases. Really? That's the level that he's at? Dude, he's so jealous. So jealous. But he's surrounded by people like little operatives where they're like, that's it, Trump. That you're really crushing the deep state, buddy. He's surrounded by people like that. I'm not going to name names. The people that show up and just would never even say a thing to him because they're like, yeah. That's the type of people. It's sad. It's really sad. But it is what it is. Mark said, I agree with you 100%. It's just obvious. And this has been my narrative for a while, and it's a narrative of challenging people. And if you go to San Francisco, I'm going to butter people up before I do the little body slam so people can get it without crying. If you go to San Francisco, in my view, it's like a failed city right now. People are getting robbed left and right. This person's getting robbed 8 times. CNN's getting their car stolen, even though or stuff stolen, even though they have private security. San Francisco is a failed city. It's a failed city with failed politicians, with failed DAs, and a bunch of Democrat voters who don't know anything, and a bunch of weak men and weak women who vote for this stuff, and they have no self-awareness to fix their city. So I don't think the citizens of San Francisco, all of them are victims. They keep voting for this policy. They act like doormats. If you act like a doormat for crime, if you act like a doormat for the Democratic Party, they're going to treat you like doormats. The Democrats are not the victim to the middle America. They're not the victim of Trump. They're imbeciles, and they're getting everything they sadly deserve. With that being said, I find the right wing to be very similar. It's like if Republicans don't want to notice that their guy's hawking vaccines like a MyPillow and he's on True Social just spewing COVID propaganda about COVID cases without even explaining that it doesn't, counting COVID cases doesn't matter. And if nobody wants to call him out, you're not the victim of the election. You're not the victim of the left. You're not the victim of the deep state. You're also a doormat. You're weak. Weak people get weak results. You don't just deserve everything because you watch Newsmax instead of Fox, or you drink Yingling instead of Bud Light. Sorry, that's not how the country works. You don't deserve it just because you're not the left. You don't deserve anything. You act like a doormat, so the Republican Party keeps treating you like a doormat and saying, I'm not a doormat for McCarthy, but I'm a doormat for Trump. You're still a doormat. You're acting like one and they're treating you like one. You act like his toilet paper and he wipes his butt with you. And then you it's embarrassing. This movement's become super, super weak and super, super pathetic and super, super embarrassing. And I'm embarrassed for people that they don't want to say something. It's like, you're that pathetic. It's sad to me because I feel like there's so much potential here, but just like San Francisco, it's like you keep voting for it. I don't like, what do you expect? You have no brain when it comes to how to stop crime. So it's going to continue. On the right, it's like you don't want to address the elephant in the room that you're basically letting this guy get up 40% in the polls when he's got the dumbest rhetoric in the entire movement about one of the most important issues, and he unapologetically, shamelessly just keeps pathologically lying about it because he knows that his base is so weak and pathetic that they'll let him do it, and that's why you deserve stuff. I don't see it. I don't think you deserve anything. I don't think we deserve anything. I'll put a we on it. So just like the left acts like doormats and gets treated like it, I see the right doing the same thing. That's my whole angle to it. Is like, I just don't get this like entitlement. Like, we deserve it because we're not Biden. Well, the Republicans and Trump printed $6 trillion like Karl Marx on steroids, and you deserve it because he's not Biden, but they did it. They did the problem. I'm not saying Biden's the solution. Biden's a bigger problem. It's like Republicans dug a hole that was 20 feet deep, and then Biden gets in and digs it 20 more feet, and then you're like, well, if Republicans were in office, there would be no hole. Wrong. No, Republicans and Democrats dug the hole. Then Biden jumped in the hole and digs it even deeper, and Biden sucks. But it's not like Biden started the hole. The hole was created by the Trump administration, and they don't even care about it, and you can't even say it. So, like, why do you deserve things? Because you notice one of the problems, but you can't even address your own side because you're, like, obsessed over this fake WWE interpretation of a guy who'd rather go on CNN than Fox News, a guy who wants his enemies to love him, a guy who's better friends with Gavin Newsom than Thomas Massie, a guy who gave allegedly Bill Gates a job in the White House and Bill Gates declined and no one wants to ask him about it, a guy that's counting COVID cases in 2023 as a gotcha moment against a Florida governor who did a better job than him. That's the leader of your movement, and you don't want to talk about it. Get stomped over. What do you expect? I'm just like weirded out. I'm not, if you notice my energy, I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I'm over it. I've come to terms that America, most people don't want to work for stuff. I actually find it a blessing in disguise. I'm going to turn this into an optimistic thing, and I hate to sound selfish about it because I'm really not. I believe in the movement. I believe in the country. But at the end of the day, if people don't want to work for stuff, you get what you put in. So it's like if everyone's going to be this weak and lazy, if you're not weak and lazy, you can start a business. You can create your own life. I guess if people want to act this way, then things will keep going in the direction they're going. But I know this is like a narrative that people aren't talking about because the narrative is like, we're being oppressed by the elites and we're so innocent. It's like, let's take accountability. If the elites are oppressing us, why? How did they get away with it for so long? We must have messed up for centuries, generations, Did we mess up? Of course we did, People messed up for a long time, and that's how we got in this position. They ignore lobbying money. They ignored both parties falling apart. Both parties tricked everybody. And now both parties are getting more corrupt than they were 40 years ago. Maybe they were always that way. So we have to take accountability and be like, all right, now let's kind of address it. But everybody just plays the victim. It's like, you get what I'm saying? It's like, oh, they're oppressing us because you're easy to oppress. They walk all over you because you act like a doormat. You act like a blue doormat and call yourself a Democrat. These people act like red doormats and call themselves Republicans. It's like, are you really a victim if you're begging to get scammed? If you like getting scammed because one of the scam artists' name is Joe Biden and the other one's name is Donald Trump, but you just want to fight the other side so you don't pay attention? Like, how are you a victim? I don't understand it. It's like people are begging to get scammed. They're begging for it. They're like, please, I'm not even going to address what you did last time. I'm just going to make excuses for it. Okay, then fail. I don't care. Like, I don't know. Why'd you get fat, Anomaly? Oh, I got fat because I had bad advisors. I had bad trainers. It wasn't my fault. Joe Biden's fatter. It's like, well, then I'm going to get fatter and fatter because I'm not acknowledging what made me fat. That's the Republican Party. They don't want to address their own side. Well, he had to do it. He had to do it. He was surrounded by advisors. He's selling the vaccine. He has to be a Democrat. He does. If he does, then your whole movement doesn't matter then because you're not going anywhere. Why do you think you're going somewhere? Well, because I want to go somewhere. Yeah, I get it. You're selfish and entitled. You want something, but you don't want to work for it or think for it. So you just like want really bad. That's America. I want it. I want this. I deserve this. I deserve that. No, you don't. Just like a liberal, millennial doesn't deserve anything. Neither do conservative boomers and conservatives. Like, why do you deserve a country that works? Because you want it really bad? Who cares? Are you willing to work for it? Are you willing to think about it? Are you willing to critically dive into what's really happening? You're not? Then enjoy the show, as they say. Enjoy the clown show. Pick a guy and then cry to the TV. I just don't see eye to eye with like most of the movement now. And it's in some ways sad. In other ways, it's not. Someone said we're effed. Not really, though, because I think life starts when people just acknowledge that. You gotta just tap into your own life, and when you do that, things work out. I've mentioned this on Instagram, but I'm going to mention it again on here. Elon Musk brought back Owen Benjamin as one of the people that he brought back on Twitter. Owen owns a farm, and one thing that he tweeted that I thought was interesting was he said, there is no scarcity. The earth is fertile. You watch some of these right-wing accounts, and they're like, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. The petrodollar, blah, blah, blah. And then you watch somebody who farms like Owen, and he's like, you can grow food. You can grow food for $2. It's not easy, but nothing in life is easy. The earth is fertile. The devil doesn't win. That's not how it works. It's like if you want to put in the work and you can buy a chicken. It's not easy, but it's easy to just eat a lot and be fat, but then it's not easy because then it's harder to be fat. Like that's life. Who told you it was going to be easy? Like you just got to like Donald Trump and yell that you're so afraid of like facing reality and like that's going to fix it. I don't understand. It's like, and then everyone's like, we're all going to die. Like, what? Why? We're fine. The earth is fertile. And at the end of the day, if you really want this stuff, food is extremely abundant. You just have to like want it and work for it. That's America. And I'm convinced that that's why our country's failing. It's not just the left and millennials that are entitled. It is, but it's most of the country. Everybody just thinks they deserve things. I don't understand it. And I'm going to talk about a tough subject because two things that are plaguing America, and I want to be as thoughtful as I can when I talk about it, but obesity and pharmaceutical pills. These are two things that are destroying our country more than anything. Obesity, pharmaceutical pills. Guess what? No one is coming to save you from obesity or pharmaceutical pills. Biden's not going to fight big pharmaceutical pills. Trump's not going to fight them. They might build a wall or stop a few opioids, but in general, it's the legal drugs in this country that are destroying so many people. With that being said, no one's going to make you not obese or half the country, and no one's going to get you off the pills. And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just being real. So if more than half of our country is fat and on pills, it's probably 60, 70, 80% at this point. That's all you. If you can't even do the work to do that, who cares who you like in politics? Who cares how much you like Donald Trump? Who cares how much you like Joe Biden? Who cares about your San Francisco apartment and your cat blog? No one cares. You know, if you can't even take care of yourself, then who's going to wipe your butt? Nobody. But that's what politics is. It's like a thing that people look up to think that their life's going to get better, but it's not going to fix your life. Only you will. Someone said I'm obsessed with fat. I'm not. And honestly, it's not smart to talk about because more than half the country's fat. It's like saying I talk about women or something and I lose half my audience. I'm just being honest. If you want to make America great again, it doesn't mean to just like slurp down beer and donate money to Donald Trump because you want him to wipe your butt. That's called a false paradigm. And that's why the country's failing, not just because of the left. If people can't even take care of themselves, like what they want a great country, you're not going to get the country of the 50s because people aren't in the shape they were in the 50s. Mental, physical, all that stuff. You know, you want Leave It to Beaver land? We'll get in Leave It to Beaver shape. You know, back then, people took care of themselves a little more. But you want Trump to fix it for you? He's not. You want Biden to fix? How are they going to fix it for you? I'm not trying to be disrespectful or to judge people. I'm just being honest. If you want to make America great again, people need to take care of themselves, but people don't want to take care of themselves. They just want to like buy into a WWE spectacle because it's easy. It's the lose weight quick pill that doesn't exist, that someone's lying to you to exploit you. They're exploiting you. Politicians are exploiting your emotions, exploiting your shortcomings, and telling you that if you give them money and power that they'll do it, even though the guy that's leading the party, the opposition party, was already in office, didn't do it, did more socialism than Obama, dug the hole, and is acting like he's going to fix the problem that he started. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but it's like, that's controversial. Why? Because people don't want to focus on stuff. To me, if I'm on stage and saying make America great again, people got to be great in their own lives also. You know, people got to get out. Like, I'm not a doctor and this is not medical advice for legal reasons, but like America needs to get off the pharmacy pill addiction. Our country's addicted to pills. Big pharma is killing millions of people by over prescribing everything. Pill. The kids are on pills. These people are on pills. Everybody's getting fat. This is not a healthy country. And Trump's not going to fix it. He's handing out McDonald's and selling vaccines. Joe Biden's not going to fix it. Does that sentence bother you? It bothers people to the audacity that they actually have to focus on themselves and not just pay attention to a false paradigm. That bothers people in this country. Yeah, bother. Well, who cares then? What are you going to sit on social media dunking on the left for 10 years? What's that going to do? Nothing. The right's turning into the left. The right is the left. They're led by an establishment Democrat who's boomering out with CNN talking points. And that's your leader, but you don't want to talk about it? Who cares what, you know? It's like, who cares what people think? I don't agree. I don't care. Don't agree then. It's fine. Just like left-wingers stop watching me, that, you know, if a left-winger's honest, they watch my show. If they want to talk about the truth about both parties, they watch my show. If they're one of these like harping out left-wingers who like cries and, you know, lies, it's like they've tuned out of my show and I'm totally fine with it. People can do the same on the right. I don't care. There's a lot of phonies out there. I'm not interested anymore. I'm trying to hype America up, not bash people down, but it's like, let's go. Let's make America great again. Let's chill out on the pharmaceutical pills. You can't just watch Trump do speeches and then your kids popping Adderall pills, getting obese, because it's like, that's not make America great again. People got to do something. Someone said you are one of them. It's so funny that people think self-accountability is like a deep state method. They're like, I'm just going to keep getting fat and drinking beer and I deserve everything. Anomaly's one of them. I deserve everything. I deserve things because I like the orange guy with the vaccines in his hand. I like him a lot, so I deserve. I am leaving now, says Dwight. I'm leaving. I deserve things. I watch Newsmax. I deserve a good country. I deserve freedom. I deserve liberty. I mean, I won't work for it and I'll cry when somebody points it out, but I deserve it. I'm entitled. I'm an American. When my party infringes on it and prints too much money and does socialism, I don't want to talk about it. In fact, I'm going to get furious when people actually point it out because that offends me. It offends me because I deserve things because I like these people, but I'm not even willing to accurately talk about them. And when someone does, it really bothers me. And that's why I deserve things. So I'm going to go and listen to someone who tells me that I deserve everything and I'm a victim to the 2020 election, that Republicans purposely controlled demolition for Big Pharma, but they don't have any accountability because it's the left. I get it, dude. If you don't want to listen to the truth, go buy some Trump coins or Trump sweaters, and it's fine. Everybody's got to make money. Everybody's got to get the merch. Someone said, lay off the orange man. There is no opposition movement. The entire movement is fake and controlled. If you're going to put a 40-point swing into a guy who is working with Bill Gates while the entire base pretends that they're fighting Bill Gates, and he's on True Social pushing COVID propaganda. If that's your lead, if your leader's faker and dumber than everybody who follows him and you following him, the movement is gone. It's insane. Someone said, I'm healthy 62-year-old woman that takes no pills, just vitamins. Everyone's allowed to do what they want, but it's like, this is how weak and pathetic this country's become, that if you tell people to take control of their own lives and nobody's going to like actually get America in shape, it bothers them. It's like, well, you think America's going to be a great country when like 70% of people are fat and on pills? You think this is going to be a great, why? Because you voted for Trump, who hands out McDonald's and vaccines? I want things. Okay, then just sit. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, this isn't a great country because the people in it aren't working hard. And I'm not even tripping about it anymore because I've worked hard. I understand what I do is not the hardest thing, but the reason I got here is because I worked my ass off from the time I was 18 until I was 33. And most of those years, I didn't make a single dollar. I sacrificed tens of thousands of hours, worked 3 jobs. I understand that most people don't want to put in that work. That's why they don't get the results. Nowadays, everyone's like, what? You deserve things? Why? What did you work for? Because you're not the left? The left deserves things? Why does the left deserve things? Oh, because they're not the right? You can't identify yourself by who you're not. You know, the left sucking doesn't make you impressive. The right doing that doesn't make the left impressive. Why does everybody think they just deserve everything because they point to the other side? Like, you're not, I don't get it. And then I say that America needs to actually get itself together because we're being killed by the food that they're giving us. People are overeating. They're not exercising. They're slurping down pharmaceutical pills. And one of the biggest causes of death in America for kids now is drugs. Most of them are legal. Big Pharma is killing the kids, and Trump is working for them, giving them vaccine money. And you think it's a secret plan because you don't want to take control of your life? It's a pathetic movement. This entire movement is completely a fail at this point. Everyone just wants to hear something. I just comfortably lie to me. It's like, no. I'm just tired of seeing people play the victim. That's it. Someone said truth hurts. I want the country to get healthier, but it's like, the truth is no one's going to fix it for you. Trump is like a band-aid for people that don't want to actually like work. It's like, or they want to just work but not pay attention to stuff. Like, he'll do it. No, he won't. But you could pretend that. I don't get it. Someone said everyone forgot Trump initiated biodigital track. They've wiped their memory from what he did in 2020 because it's inconvenient, or they just like make excuses for it. Imagine a movement so unserious about liberty and freedom that when someone does crazy stuff, they just make excuses for it. That's most of the right. Is like, if Hillary Clinton does it, that's bad. If Gavin Newsom does it, that's bad. If Donald Trump does it, that's innocent victim man who never should ever take accountability, and I'm so weak and pathetic that I will make excuses for what I don't believe because I like him more than I like anything in this world. It's like, then fail and lie to yourself and lose and then cry and play the victim and run circles around him with the election until he lures you into a Fed trap. Like, if that's what you want to do, that you can do that, but just stop crying about the left when you're acting like them. Like, just, stop blaming other people when you're part of the problem. That's all I ask. Someone said DeSantis is a sellout, apparently. They're both sold out. It's just Trump is trying to pretend like Trump is a clown, but they both are working very hard for Israeli donors, and you think they're fighting over you, but they're like, look, I moved the capital to Jerusalem. I'm passing hate crime laws and hate speech laws. I'm doing this. They're fighting over donors. It's fine. It's just like, the bigger issue, in my opinion, is the fact that Trump is creating a false paradigm. Like, they're both sold out in some way, and they're both controlled by the same people, and they're both fighting over donors that have no ethnicity. With that being said, you'll never know that because Donald Trump is creating this like Tasmanian devil false reality where like he's CNN now, he's sharing COVID cases, DeSanctimonious, didn't do a good job on COVID, but Trump did. And like Trump is basically taking the minds of conservatives and just scrambling them like scrambled eggs. So everybody's completely useless and they can't think anymore. They have no critical thinking skills. They just regurgitate what he regurgitates and they don't even want to question him. He's destroying the minds of the Republican Party. At one point, he helped a lot of people. He woke a lot of people up. He rose you up just to crash you on the ground, scramble your brain, and just destroy everything that everyone worked for. That's what's happening. With that being said, everybody has the right to do that. Someone said, if not Trump, who else? Like, this is all people want to say. Like, if not him, who? Like, who do I vote for? Who do I vote for? And when I vote, it's like, is that what you think this world is? You vote and then you just have to like agree because it's better than the other guy. What if everybody had a spine? I know I'm creating a utopia that doesn't exist, but like, what if you actually had a spine and a brain so you actually made Trump work for your vote instead of just spiraling and getting bad? What if he won and you actually challenged him the same way as McCarthy instead of letting him skirt out of every situation? Like, no, you just want to vote and cry when it doesn't work. Who do I vote for? I don't know, dude. Like, I'm so over this stuff, and I'm not trying to be nasty about it, but it's like I'm over it. I've come to the conclusion that most people are just weak and pathetic, and I don't take any pride in saying that. It's not fun. It's just like when I walk into an airport and I take my mask off, and every single person has a mask in there. You don't even have to wear one. This was at the height of it. There's hundreds of people at a huge airport, and not a single person has the balls to take their mask off. I don't feel like I'm so special, but clearly I'm in the 1 percentile of people that are not completely like, at this point, everybody wearing a mask at the airport might as well be like a character in a movie. Like, they're side characters now. You know, you're no longer the main character in your life. You're a side character. You're like mask wearer number 7,546. So that just showed me that like 99.9% of people want to be controlled and are controllable. It doesn't matter if they have a D or an R next to their name. They're completely controllable. They don't push the boundaries of what they're allowed to do. If someone tells them to do something, everyone just follows suit. And that's just how it is. And I'm not trying to be a hater, but it's like I see the same in politics. Left-wingers want their cities to fail. Left-wingers want to get lied to. Right-wingers want to get lied to by Donald Trump. They're willing to bash their heads on the wall, run in circles, fail, and blame someone else and play the victim. I'm not interested. So now my new optimism, it doesn't come from worshiping a vaccine salesman like he's Jesus. That's psychotic and demonic. It comes from, well, I guess that's just life, you know? If you become I don't want to sound selfish, but in your own life too, it's like if you work hard and create a business, everyone didn't create a business. You did. Why did you do it? I don't know. You worked for it. Why did you get the life that you lived? If you're married and you're happy, you know, why did you find a husband? And you probably put in the work. You did things that other people didn't do. Whatever you love in this world, you earned it. Probably. It didn't just fall into your lap randomly. Someone said you sound like a simpleton. You could think and say what you want. There's a lot of people that are like brain damaged over politics, and they think my message of self-awareness and just focusing on yourself is so crazy because they want to like slurp down, you know, Yinglings because Yinglings so America. I got 17 Yinglings in my stomach. I'm voting for Trump. Whatever, dude. If you think what I'm saying simple, I'll continue to do what I do, and you could continue to get fooled and think that it's the opposite of a simple message. It's a message that no one's saying. And the country's failing because everybody's responsible. Like, we're not the victim. The biggest lie that Republicans are telling you is that the left is ruining the country, and if you just vote for them, that the country's going to get fixed. They're also ruining the country, and the fact that Republicans have no spine when it comes to Donald Trump is also ruining the country. That's part of it. You're part of it. No, you don't want to. You're the victim. You're the victim, right? All you got to do is vote for the vaccine salesman, right? That's it, yeah? You just got to vote for him, right? That's going to fix the obesity rate, right? Voting for Trump. That's going to fix the pill problem in this country, right? Voting for him. Yeah. That's going to make America great again, even though people don't even take care of themselves. That's going to fix everything, right? You just got to believe in a man that lies to you all the time, right? That's not simpleton. It's so simpleton to actually take care of yourself and actually see through the false paradigm. Yeah. That's so crazy, right? I mean, gosh, who does that? Like, it's just, It's not TDS, bro. It's insane how brain damaged people are. And I don't care. It's like when left-wingers come here. I don't care anymore. It is what it is. You get what you put in. Someone said the obesity, right? I'm just saying, like, that's the truth of if you want to make America great again, people got to get into the shape that they were in 1960, and no politician's going to mandate that. Oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome. It's like, this is like the low level, like, people are just like melting into a pile of nothingness. Their brain is like a spoiled milk because they just listen to Trump. It's like, okay, no, yeah, America's just going to be randomly great. I mean, nobody has to actually be great. You just have to like vote and like other people. That's the way America's going to be great. No, everybody we want the 60s and 70s back. Well, get in 60s and 70s shape. Back then, the obesity rate was like 1/3 of what it is. You don't want to? Then stop crying victim. If you don't want to do your part to get back to how you liked it in the 70s and 80s, then what do you want? You want another man who works with Bill Gates to wipe your ass and save your life. It's pathetic. The movement is pathetic. They don't want to address the fact that Trump has morphed into a Democrat CNN host LARPing about COVID cases. He's a fraud. No, that bothers you? Then I don't care. Then follow him, not me. And try to find meaning in your life idolizing him like a god and not tapping into your own strengths, and see how fulfilling that is down the road. I don't care. I'm just trying to challenge people because that's just the way I see it. I wish I could say it in a different way that didn't sound so hostile. But it's like, how are we going to go back to greatness if people aren't even willing to be great in their own life? Who's going to, you think voting for Republicans is going to make you great? It's such a joke. On what level have they done, like, they needed to print the money, they needed to do this, then you need to just be a fan. I don't know what to tell you. Then nothing, it's like, I don't understand it. I'm so not in this world. I don't know. I'm not in this reality that other people are. I don't understand it. But I do get why people feel that way. They feel that way because they've lost critical thinking skills, because for the last 2 or 3 years, they're just making their decisions based off what Donald Trump does and just agreeing with them, even when Donald Trump turns into CNN and Democrats. They don't want to think about it. So then what? So what do you want? It's entitlement. What can we do? I don't know how much more clear I could possibly be. What do you do? Like, live your life. Your life. Who are you? What are you doing? That's what matters. I don't know any other way to really put it. Like, what do you do? I don't, like, pay attention? No. Speak the truth. Be able to see through your side's deception. Focus on what you can do rather than waiting for someone else to save you. Is that a controversial message now? It's like the message that every spiritual life coach teacher has for everyone. It's like literally how you succeed in the world. But if that's not what people want to hear, I'm not shocked. I thought that was only a left thing, that people didn't want to hear that. Now the right doesn't want to hear it. Is that so crazy? I don't know. And then when it comes to politically, you get what you deserve sometimes. Or it's like, if the whole base doesn't want to challenge Trump, I'm not mad at it. It's just like, stop playing the victim. That's all I'm saying. If you don't want to challenge Trump and you don't want to call out his lies and you don't want to call out all the stuff that he did, and he's unapologetic and shameless about it, just getting worse every day, then why do you deserve anything? I don't understand it. Why do you deserve stuff? Why? Because you don't want to tell the truth about a guy you like, so you deserve it? Why? I don't understand. Someone said if we didn't care, you wouldn't have viewers. A lot of people get it. I'm a little tough. I know I'm challenging people. A lot of people do get it. A lot of people get it. But the best part about what I'm saying is, outside of politics, if you can gain some inspiration from this, I know, I see the potential in everybody. God gave you a brain. God gave you a soul. God gave you another day. If you're watching this, God gave you vision. If you're listening to this, God gave you hearing. These are not guaranteed. No one owes you anything. Joe Biden owes you nothing. Donald Trump owes you nothing. You know, it's like everybody just thinks like, oh, well, I like him, so what? Who cares? You know, A lot of these problems aren't even fixable on a national level. It's not going to get better. They're just telling you it is, so you give them money, and then they trip over their own feet and hire their enemies again, and you act so shocked. It's all a joke. But the beautiful part is the optimism in my message is it's all up to you. Be grateful, be appreciative for what you have. Everyone has something to appreciate. Everyone should be grateful. And when you're grateful and appreciative and you don't act entitled, that's when God blesses you more in your own life. There's going to be people who've made so much success that whether Trump or Obama or Biden's in office, it doesn't even matter because they've built something for themselves. And I'm not just talking about wealth. Real wealth can be health. Real wealth can be family. So it's like, people can build stuff. This is why I have more in common with Owen Benjamin than 99% of conservatives, because he doesn't play the victim like everyone else is just like, oh, everything's so bad. We're all going to die. They're doing this to the food. It's like, bro, if you're really scared, go to church. And if you're extra scared, go make a farm. There's food. You could buy a chicken. And if you're worried about GMO, work hard to buy organic chickens. They exist still, although it's getting more rare. You're not a victim. The right-wing movement's become like a victim movement. We have no food. We have no this. Grow the food. I've grown up on a farm. I've done farming. It's extremely hard. I don't do it now because some of these people aren't they're not all living it like Owen is. Some people are just LARPing on Instagram about how they want to be a farmer, but they don't even farm. I've lived on a farm. I've done farming. It's extremely difficult work. It's extremely grueling. It's extreme physical labor. That's why most people who own big farms make other people farm, because it's really hard to do. I love farming. It's beautiful, but I've done it before, and I'm not really interested in doing it right now because I just don't feel like doing the work, to be honest. At a certain point, I'd like to have a garden and a little farm, but I've done that. It's very difficult, and I didn't even do it. I was younger, so it's not like I was the main farm person. I just know what it's like. With that being said, when time comes, you can do that if you want to do it. There's land, there's chickens, there's food. You're not a victim. The earth is fertile. You can do all this stuff and create all of this for yourself, but it's hard. You got to do it. I just don't understand the life that people are living now. They're like, this is bad. Where we got to just like Trump. And if you disagree with him, you're mad. What are you doing? It's all about what you do in your life, who you are. And when you become that person, you're going to be a lot harder to trick. Everyone's so easy to trick because I don't even know. It's like the fact that Donald Trump is so high in the polls and that he's just progressively getting worse and worse and worse and lying more and more and more. The fact that nobody even cares that he took a meeting with Bill Gates and basically copy and pasted what Bill Gates told him and passed an executive order. The fact that nobody cares about that and Trump's polling at 30% higher than anyone else just proves to me how weak and pathetic and clueless the Republican base is. I'm gonna say it. So it's and then what's the narrative when you listen to most Republican pages? You're the victim. It's the left. He had bad advisors. Biden. This is the low level, destroying the brains of conservatives, turning them into victims. You're the victim of the election. Someone said, you can't win, Anomaly. The system is rigged. I already won, bro. I'm already winning, and I'll continue to win because I'm not a victim. If you say the system's rigged, I can't win, what does winning mean to you, though? The devil is a lie, in my opinion. The devil can control worldly things, but God wins in the end. So I don't envy the people who have all this fake power and fake stuff. Real power comes from what you build. There's thousands of great people in this country who've built stuff. I've built stuff. I worked my ass off in my 20s, and I've created a life for myself that no one can take away. It's you get what I'm saying? I'm not a victim. I've been able to connect with people I looked up to when I was young, musicians, athletes. I turned myself into a rock star because I worked for it. No one owes me anything. I'm not a victim to this or that. Yeah, they steal my money. Yes, things are rigged, but everybody's such a baby in this country. Wah, 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 wah. I don't hear it. Wah, I'm such a victim. Wah, 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 wah. It's your ancestors actually worked hard. Your ancestors fought in wars. A lot of people immigrated here and busted their ass and delivered trash. And you're just wah, wah, wah on YouTube. Wah, everything's rigged against me. That's why you lose, because your mindset is of a loser. And I'm not trying to be mean, but You lose because you have a loser mindset. People with loser mindsets lose and then blame other people. I don't want to be the president. I don't want to be Goldman Sachs. So I don't envy the things that they want. You could win. I'm going to use Owen as an example. He moved to a farm. He has kids. He has food. That's winning to him. What do you want to be? The CIA director and you're crying because you can't be? Why do you envy wicked things? Why do you envy what the devil has? Why do you envy what the system has? You're envious and jealous of things that I don't want. I don't want the life they have. I don't want the fake power they have. I don't want to have to live a life waking up every day, living a lie and telling everybody things that's not real power. How am I losing? How is the system hurting me? It's like, yeah, they steal my money. They do this and that. It's a challenge. I consider it a hurdle. They throw 20 things at me, I jump over it 21 times. They take this money from me, I go make more. It's not ideal, but it's like someone said, all I do is whine. People don't want, like people that come here that have the mindset of a winner, they understand that this is an optimistic stream. They understand that this is an empowering stream. They understand that this is like the truth. People that don't want to win, they just cry. Like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, no, everything's rigged against you. The system's rigged. Then leave America. Like, if you're so a victim in America, go somewhere else. There's hundreds of countries in the world. If you feel so victimized in America that it's so bad that you can't win and everything's rigged against you and there's nothing you could possibly do, go somewhere else. Find somewhere that you feel less of a victim and go there. You won't, because you just want to cry. People just want to complain. If I thought America was so bad and so terrible that I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't be there. You get what I'm saying? If you think where you're at so bad, go somewhere else. You don't want to? Like, I don't get the mindset. I just don't get it. I really don't. It's like, I'm a victim of the world. Everything's against me, and I'm not even going to put in the effort to go somewhere that I believe in because I don't believe in anywhere. Then sit in your room, put a COVID mask on, stare at the wall, and cry and tell yourself how much you deserve and why you deserve it. Like, work against it. Work against the grain. You know, if you have to work 10 times harder for what you have, then that makes you a better person. If I were left wing and I wanted to do like worldly things, I'm sure I could have had other things open up at a certain point, but I don't envy that. I don't want the easy route. I don't want what they have. I don't want a John Legend, Chrissy Teigen television tour. I don't want that. And you know what? When people see me in person and they talk to me, it reminds me of why what I'm doing is more important, where it's like, hey, we appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. It's like that means more to me than going on entertainment with a bunch of demons. Like, you know, like why? That's not winning. I don't want what the system has. I'm not buying what they're selling. And the fact, like, I don't buy into the victim narrative. Not for me, not for you, not for anyone else. You can do stuff in this country. It's still a good country. Even with all the things working against us, you're not a victim. We are not victims. And if you are a victim of the American system and it's so bad that you can't succeed, then go somewhere else. But you don't want to go somewhere else because you know that it's not the place, it's your mindset. You know, I'm not a victim, and I'll disagree with people and complain about certain takes, but my narrative is never really a complaint. It's just like this is goofy. I can't believe people are falling for it, and you know, tap into your own life and make stuff happen. It's just, and then even I saw on Twitter, someone's like, oh, you don't play the victim except for Israel and you blame them for everything. If people listen to what I say, I don't blame Israel for everything. I take accountability. It's not Israel's job to make sure American politicians are serving America. That's not their job. It's our job. It's our politicians. It's our voters. It's our people. You know what I'm saying? This is our country. If China does something to America, yeah, it's China's fault, but also it's like our fault for allowing it to happen. So no, I actually don't play the victim. I just say, you know, if politicians are passing laws for a foreign country, that's our fault. That's not their fault. That's not your fault. That's our fault. I don't play the victim in that either. It's just something, it's like saying big pharma controls both sides of politics. I'm not playing the victim. That's just what's happening. In order to correct it, we have to address it. Big pharma is terrorizing people because people allow it to happen and nobody wants to call out their side. So it's not like a whole, I'm such a victim. It's like, let's empower ourselves and then that'll all change. Someone said, speaking about how poor we all are, who said you were poor? Who do you think is doing all those super chats? Guarantee most of them are government agents, assets, bots, media personalities, other accounts in their social circle. I haven't even seen a super chat today. You're suggesting all the super chats given to me are government agents and assets? No real people ever donate? No. I don't even see that many super chats anymore, but I don't, if you want to believe that, sure. I have no idea who's super chatting most of the time because I don't really even know what their real name is. They usually do it from like a account, but I don't know. Let's see. Someone said, I didn't take the jab. Did you take it, Anomaly? No, I did not take it. No, but to each their own, to each their own. I would say this too, when it came to the jab, I always told people that the CARES Act was protecting them from side effects and injuries. I understand that if they didn't have protection from injuries and side effects, they would not have been able to rush it so fast. If Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer had to pay out all the side effects for their product, they never would have been able to rush it. That was enough for me to be like, no, I don't want it. With that being said, there's a lot of accounts that just fear-mongered over the vaccine and were like, everyone's going to be dead in a year, everyone's going to drop dead, and that never happened. And all I'm saying is like, being a truther doesn't like, everyone's like, well, I'm not the left. They're lying about the vaccine, so I'm going to lie about the vaccine. It's like, why not just try to be accurate? No, you're better than them because you're still fear-mongering. You're telling people who got it that their life is over when it's not over. So it's like, side effects are real. You're definitely rolling the dice. But at the same time, it's like everyone's not going to drop dead. Some people will. Some people will have side effects, and Big Pharma is not going to pay for it, and they're going to cover it up. But like you watch most of these truther accounts, and they're just like, everyone's going to die in a year, and it's like it didn't happen. It's not true. It's like it's another fear thing. Everyone should be afraid. Be afraid of World War III. Be afraid. Don't be afraid. Yeah, China and America are beefing. Russia and America are beefing. But like, have you seen me one time ever fearmonger about it? Like, what's the point of being afraid of it? If you're so afraid, then leave. If you're that afraid of World War III that you're shivering in your boots every day, then go to a neutral country and feel safe. But like, what people need to realize is it's not what's going on. It's the mindset. If you can thank you, Trey. I appreciate the super chat. If you could fix something, then fix it. If you can't, then why are you worrying about it? It's like you're just going to shake in your boots about ISIS for 6 years. Oh my gosh. And then you're going to shake about North Korea. And then you're going to shake about the vaccine. And then it's World War III. And then it's something else. And you're just going to be afraid your whole life. Afraid of stuff that probably isn't even going to happen. And if it happens, then still, what's the point? I don't, it's like, I don't buy into any of that fear. Like, life is not easy. It just seems like someone told someone that everything was going to be perfect. Like, who told you that? There is no time where everything was amazing. That doesn't exist. Like, I know people like these were the best times in some ways, but there was still theft. There was bank robberies. People would steal each other's cattle. There were gangs that would hide out in the desert, just steal all your stuff, and there was no one to call. Yeah, there were certain times where things were slightly better in some ways, but this like place where everything was just like perfect, it just like doesn't exist, and it never existed. And like thinking about going back to a place in the past, well, if you want to do that, it's probably not possible. But if you did want to do that, then you got to address what's going on. You can't just like want it really bad and expect it to happen. It doesn't work like that. So, I don't know. I don't know who told everyone to be afraid, or who, like, there's always going to be an Iran puts their boat there, and China does this, and Russia does that, and there's the Cold War. Like, it's going to happen, and things are going to get wild. But at the end of the day, I just don't understand why so many accounts are just pushing like so much fear about these things. I don't get it. Someone said not even God-fearing, not into that either. Well, I think it's good to be afraid of doing the wrong thing versus the right thing. Like on your personal life, we've had this convo before, but I think it's a profound statement to say so many people in this world are afraid of doing the right thing. And that's why the world's gotten evil. We're not just being oppressed, we're cowardly. I know this is not the most popular thing to say because people want to hear, I'm a victim. I'm a victim to the deep state. I'm a victim to the elites. I'm a victim to Joe Biden. That's the popular thing. The truth is, This country's failing because people are afraid to do the right thing. If you do the right thing, people are afraid for you. Oh, you should be afraid of saying that. You should be afraid. You should be afraid. They're afraid of doing the right thing. Most people on both sides. And they feel comfortable doing the wrong thing. If you should be more, in my opinion, you should be more afraid of God and the wrong thing than you are of the right thing. I'm not saying to run around and be afraid of everything all the time, but it's like you got 95% of the population is afraid to tell the truth. They're afraid to say what's real. They're afraid to be honest. They're afraid to just say basic science. And they feel comfortable being wrong because it feels safe. That's not, to me, that's not safety. That's why everything's failing. People need to be more afraid of doing the wrong thing in their own life than they are afraid to say the right thing. You know, there's a lot of people nowadays, they're afraid of the left, right? I get it. The left is insane. And like 95% of people don't want to say anything. They're comfortable doing the wrong thing. And just, I understand it though. And then on the right, I think there's a lot of influencers who know what I'm saying about Trump. They just don't want to say it because they're afraid of being called this. They're afraid of getting excommunicated. They're afraid of the backlash that comes along with it. So it's like people are being controlled by their fear of worldly things and their fear of perception and their fear of what other people think. You know, I'm not a fearful guy, but I'd much rather feel like I want to feel bad when I do the wrong thing. I don't want to feel bad when I do the right thing. You know, it's like it should feel worse and be scarier to do the wrong thing than the right thing. And nobody's perfect, but that's, in my view, why the world is failing right now, is because everybody feels more comfortable. All you have to do is talk about Epstein or say something like super deep, and people be like afraid for you. Anomaly, you should be afraid. You should be afraid to say that. You should be afraid. I fear for you. And it's like, I'm all right. But also, isn't it scary to work for a left-wing corporation? Isn't that scary also? Isn't it scary to work for a bunch of psychotic liberals who don't even know science? Like, isn't that also scary? Or no, only what I'm saying is scary? Yeah, there's certain elements of things, but like, it's like everyone's like, it's scary to speak out, but I feel totally comfortable, you know, working for a company that doesn't even respect me as a human being, that they'd force vaccinate me. It's like, it's scarier to be trapped under a liberal corporation that would literally inject you with synthetic mRNA. That's actually scarier than independently breaking away from that. So, you know, I try to say that in an inspirational way, because the normie route is dangerous now. You know, 10 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, you're right. Speaking out is really scary, but like, it's much scarier to be like what they did to people. That's creepy. Like, it's creepy that major corporations were like, if you don't get injected yourself with synthetic mRNA, you know, you can't come to work. That's creepy. That is more creepy than figuring out a way to get out of that system. Everything comes at a cost, but when you go the safe route and the, you know, being afraid of the right thing route, the world starts to shift into that. I forget who said this on Twitter, but this was profound. When I heard it, I was like, damn, that's a bar. He said the older generation sent their kids out into the world, their liberal kids, and said, these kids will change when they go into the real world. Once they get into the real world, they'll change and be conservative. But the truth was, most of them didn't change. And instead of learning the truth and turning the world, they turned the world into liberal worlds. You know what I'm saying? That was a huge miscalculation from the older generation. Like, go into the world and you'll be conservative. And all these liberal dummies went into the world and changed the world. They shifted reality into their reality because that's what they did. They didn't learn from what the world was. They changed the world into their world. And now we all have to, in some form, live in their weird world. It was a miscalculation, though. But we're not the victim, though. You get what I'm saying? It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have things not right. But like, we have to address our own shortcomings and be like, well, maybe we should have done this better. Maybe we could have done this better. Like, we can't follow a guy that tells us that we're the victim of everything that they did. And the only way to fix it is to do the same thing that they just did already. Like, the whole political paradigm is being controlled and manipulated. Shelly said, change your tone, bro. I would say I've been rather like reserved these last 10 minutes. I don't know what part of the last like 5 minutes bothered you, but I would say of all the things in this live stream, it was probably like the least offensive or least rude thing I've said, but I don't know what part bothered you. But I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry actually, so I take that back. But um, let's see. Someone said the individuals are just exhausting anomaly. It is exhausting, but that's where, just breaking away from it. Sometimes this is what's with all the Trump stuff and people getting mad at me, I'm at the point now where I'm thinking about it like liberalism. You don't see that many liberals in my comment section. Do you know why? Like there are some honest liberals, the ones that exist still, but when it comes to like the annoying psychotic ones, you don't see them in my comment section anymore. Do you know why? Because they stopped watching my channel. They just don't want to watch it, which is totally fine with me. It's unfortunate, but it's for the better. Rather than having imagine if every day on my live stream I just had to argue with liberals saying like gender is like doesn't exist and you can hate white people but not other people. Like imagine if I had to do that every day and fight with liberals. I don't have to do it because they buzzed off, and I appreciate it because if like I don't want to live in that world. With that being said, I kind of, no offense, but I do kind of like people that are brainwashed by Trump and that are like, he rushed the vaccine to save the world. How dare you criticize him counting COVID cases? That's just what he does now. Like, I kind of want these people to leave just like liberals because their mental decay is starting to affect everyone here because it's like every day they have the same narrative. Every day they have the same excuses. Every day they make the same amount of sense, which is very little. And they just keep tricking themselves into thinking it makes sense. So I'm at the point now where it's like, I kind of think about them as like liberals, where it's like, they're not making sense. They're stuck on loop. They're brainwashed. They're emotional. They're hallucinating fake theories because they just like someone too much. It's one of these things where it's like, I'm not even mad at people. I just don't want to live in your fake world. Go find someone that tells you what you want to hear. Like I really feel that way now. And it's not everybody. I think it's like 50-50 split, but it's like I don't want to have a conversation with a liberal every day for 5 years and say the same thing. It's just not exciting. I'll debate once in a while, but I don't want to like be stuck on loop. That's how I feel about people that worship Trump now. It's like I treat them like liberals. It's like we disagree. It's okay. If you want to believe that vaccine socialism is okay when a Republican does it, if you want to believe that Trump printing money didn't do anything, if you want to believe that him posting COVID cases on True Social is like an own to DeSantis, like if you're that foolish and weak, if you're a doormat for a guy that's just manipulating you, like he's just like going further and further into embarrassing his base, and they keep like loving it. So if people want to like that, that's okay. You can, I don't know what that's like, but you can sit on True Social and be like, yeah, I like that Trump is counting COVID cases because that really shows Florida's doing a bad job. They have too many COVID. Like, if that's who you are, then that's who you are. It's sad. It's weak. You're literally just a 2020 Democrat. Trump has brainwashed you with like CNN level propaganda about COVID cases without telling you about PCR tests, how they're counting. If that's the world you want to live in, that's fine. But let's just agree to disagree. Let's not run in circles, because when you're that trapped and tricked and you come here freaking out, you're starting to affect everyone else's like consciousness in a negative way, and it's just not worth it anymore. RMZ said, this is the greatest country in the world. As a black immigrant that came to this country with 2 suitcases, got my dream job, and owned my own home. Thank you, RMZ. I appreciate you. Thanks for the super chat. I do feel like a lot of people in America have forgotten what is possible in this country. It's not perfect. I'm fine with speaking out against the corruption, but this idea that like you can't do anything in this country, it's not true. I've disproven it. So is that guy. So have millions of others. I can't tell you everyone's story. I could tell you my story. That's the story I know the best. I've heard other ones, but as far as myself, I was broke for 10 years. I moved to a city with 2 suitcases. I got pretty much turned down by major labels because they wanted me to do something I didn't want to do. And instead of doing it and crying about it, I just didn't do it. I took the hard route. I worked for myself. I took 30 jobs. I was sending out hundreds of resumes every day. I worked my ass off. I never once missed rent. I never once asked my parents for money. I did it. I struggled. I worked to the side. I had 3 jobs and I would work to the side since the time I was 19 years old. When I went to college, I worked on my career. When I dropped out, I worked on my career. When I worked at a grocery store, I worked on my career. When I worked at a library, I don't understand people that don't work hard. I literally just don't get it. I can't relate. I just can't. Since the time I was 19 years old, I was tripling up my work. I never stopped. No matter if I had 1 job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, I never stopped working. So if you want something, but you're not willing to work for it, are you willing to take 3 jobs at once and still work in the off hours for your passion? If you're not going to make it. That's just the truth. From the time I was 19 years old, I worked tens of thousands of hours on my passion when I was getting no money from it. When people were rejecting me, when they told me I couldn't do it or was stupid or they were laughing at me, I always believed in myself. So it's like when people were like, I don't have time, you don't? How did I have 3 jobs at once, yet I still put it, because I wanted to do it. How bad do you want it? That's what this life comes down to, whether it's business, whether it's your career. How bad do you want it? Because if you don't want it bad, you don't deserve it. You know, if I'm at a job and I got to work 9 hours a day, but I'm on a lunch break, are you willing to, if you're a musician, are you willing to write songs on your lunch break and find time? Are you willing to stay up till 12 o'clock and put in 3 hours of work after you get home at 8 o'clock? You're not? You're not willing to do that? Well, I can't relate. That's what I did. I didn't say I don't have time. I found time. I made time. I made time at my job. It's like I did everything I possibly could for over a decade for $0, you know, while I was getting crushed at corporate jobs that I didn't like. So it's like this is a country for people who want to make stuff happen. It's not perfect. People are going to do shady stuff. There definitely is a system working against you, but they can't crush you unless you let them. You know, they don't want you to do this. Who cares? Who cares what they think? Who cares what they want? You could still do it. If you're white, you could still do it. Even though the media hates white people, you could still do it. If you're black and you feel like you can't do it for that, you could still do it also. Everyone can do it. There's been success stories in every race, every gender. You know, everyone can have success and can find success if you're willing to have a positive mindset and work for it. Thank you for the super chat, Ed. Thank you. S. Mazik said, this country's always been the land of opportunity. My grandparents were slaves who brought their freedom and became the largest landowners in the country. Amen. I know what my ancestors went through is way more difficult. So it's like I'm doing light work. That's the reason I work so hard. This is not hard. If I was entitled, some people are so entitled. Like some people, they didn't work that hard for their social media success, or, you know, like someone, they got it and now they think that I know I don't deserve anything. I deserve what I work for. I've worked on a farm. I've worked at a supermarket. I've done this. I've had 30 jobs. I've been broke. I've worked for $10 an hour. I've taken buses. I've taken trains. I've walked in the hood. I've had to walk across parks at night with crackheads. I did that for 10 years. That's why I work. Well, how do you work so hard? Because what I do is not that hard. I used to work 10-hour days. I used to have 3 jobs. I used to have to work on top of my job. Now that I get to do what I love and say what I want for a job, you think I'm going to squander that? That's why I run circles around most news analysts. I'm doing 7 shows a day. How could I not? I don't want to go back to the life I had. I don't want to fall off my horse when I worked this hard. I'm not going to allow it to happen. I can't. I don't want to. So, you know, I can't control everything, but I can't control how hard I work, and that's why I do. Sometimes people complain, they're like social media people, and they do like 1 video a week. It's like, what are you complaining about? You do 1 video a week and you don't even produce it. You have a producer, you have an editor, someone makes thumbnails for you. Like, you're such a victim. Dude, it's the easiest job in the world. These are my lights. This is my camera. This is all my stuff. I make the beginning. I do the audio. I'm the producer. I'm the thumbnail maker, and I do 7 shows a week. So if you can't do 2 shows a week and you have an entire production team and people are crying about this and that, it's like, I don't know. Some people, maybe they never had to work for it. And if you do have to work for it, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh, that person got this or that. Well, that's why they don't appreciate anything. You know, if you came from a bad situation and made it good, it's like a superpower. Now you know what it's like. I'm convinced I'm so happy because I wasn't for a long time in my life. You get what I'm saying? It was the times that were hard. It was the times that were uncomfortable. It's the times that I was depressed. It was the times that I didn't fit in. That's what makes all this so great. Now, when I lived in a bad area, when I had to walk through the hood, when I had to basically, I couldn't even open my window for 4 years because if I opened my window, I was afraid my house was going to get broken into because I was on the first floor of like a shitty area. Now that I don't have to do that, I'm happy because I remember. I don't forget. I don't not appreciate. You get what I'm saying? So that's all I'm really trying to say. And I know I say some uncomfortable stuff, but I'm trying to hype America up. This is still a good country. And honestly, if everybody worked a little harder, this country would be a little better. It's not just the left. I think that the right has gotten too entitled. I really do. And I really think as many great things as Trump has done, as much inspiration as he's provided and media criticism, even though he keeps giving them money and going on CNN for town halls, I think that in general, he's kind of tricked people into this victim mentality because Trump is someone that doesn't, for political purpose, want to admit anything he did wrong. So he is brainwashing people into being the victim. And it's going to crush people's mindset on the right, outside of politics in their own life, waiting around for someone that's not willing to admit what they did. It's not. Someone said, no hype, bro. You're just scolding people for not being as awesome as yourself. That's not at all what I'm doing. And if I thought I was so awesome and it was unattainable, I would just not talk about it. But it's like there's people that are doing better than me on it. There's people watching this video that are in better physical shape than me. There's people that are watching this video that have more money than me. There are people watching this video who have a bigger family than me. There's people watching this video on every level that are doing better than me. I'm not saying I'm better than people. I'm identifying that I'm not. It's just like when it comes to politics, do you want to focus on your life and actually do something, or do you just want to be a fan? If you're a fan, then you're a fan. It's just like if you're going to be a political fan, just don't, accept what you accept then. But I don't, to me, maybe I should treat people like that, but America is a choose your own adventure game. If you're just going by the wayside of what one politician likes, you don't actually deserve anything. That's not me saying I'm better than you. It's like if people actually exercise their freedom, right, and critical thinking skills, then this country deserves to be in a better place. If people don't do that, then I don't think we deserve it. I'm not saying I'm better than people. It's just like I got the results I got because I worked for it. I don't know any other way to put it. It's like I'm in decent shape now because I work out and I walk a lot. If I stop walking and work out, I'm not in good shape anymore. That's just how the world works. It has nothing to do with me being better than you. It's just the truth. If you look at a bodybuilder, it didn't just happen to him. He put in the work. He ate properly. He probably did some steroids, but like, if that's what you want, then that's how you do it, I guess. But that's, it's like, but if you don't want it, then you don't do it. Your name is DJ Color Zone, which means you're a DJ. I'm trying to inspire people, my brother. If you're a DJ, I'm trying to provide inspiration, but sometimes what I'm saying can bother people because they're not trying to put in the work. I'm not more awesome than people. I worked hard. I want people to work hard. If you want to get in good shape, you got to work for it. If you want to, a country with the First Amendment, you have to identify when both parties are giving it up. You got to create a coalition and a movement that actually cares. If you're against socialism, you actually need to be against socialism. If the Republican Party says they're against socialism, but they don't want to talk about socialism when Trump and McConnell come together with Pelosi to do it, then your movement doesn't matter. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter you talking against the left if you are the left and you don't want to identify it. Someone said you don't even know me and you assume? Well, your name is DJ Color Zone, so yeah, I assume you're a DJ because your name is named after a DJ. If you're not a DJ, I apologize. But like, why? Like, you just have this mindset where you just want to be upset. You're like, you think you're better than me. You assume my name is DJ Color Zone when my name is DJ Color Zone. It's like, do you want me to assume your name is like, Leroy Jenkins and you're a professional gamer? Like, what do you want me to think? I'm trying to hype you up and get you mopped up, but you just want to be sad. I don't know what to tell you. You're not a DJ? Maybe you're not. I don't know. I just assumed you were. It's like if your name was like MC Johnny, I would assume you were an MC. But if you're not, then you're not. I don't know what to tell you. It's so crazy. Let me see. I'm going to read a few more and then I'm out. DJ Technicolor. Someone said ignore the haters. I don't consider people haters though. It's like even when people will complain, they'll still stay because they know what I'm saying is true. I'm very authentic and I'm very accurate. And when I'm not, it is what it is. Sometimes people say you have an opinion too much. Why I say it so much, it might be annoying and cringe. I'm aware. But I'm trying to explain, like when I'm giving you an article, I'm reading the Wall Street Journal Epstein drop, right? Is that factual? Well, I don't know. How much do you trust Wall Street Journal's drops? It is what you make of it. But when I give you an opinion, I'm just trying to be clear that this is my perspective. This is my opinion. I try to separate this is my factual 5-minute report to this is my opinion about this. So thoughts on Ramaswamy? I haven't even seen him talk. For whatever reason, he just hasn't crossed my radar, which is, I know, shocking because everyone likes him and he's everywhere. I haven't listened to a single minute of him speak, and that's not a diss to him. I just haven't. I don't know why. Do I know what Roseanne thinks about your thoughts on Trump recently? I've invited Roseanne on the show, but she's busy. I know she's filmed a documentary that I'm in that I helped her kind of connect with. So I'm friends with Roseanne. I like Roseanne. I'm guessing we probably disagree on Trump. I think she's more in like the trust the plan, Trump zone. But I mean, I don't know. I still like Roseanne as a person. There's always been things we've slightly disagreed on, but she's a great person. I don't know. I'd be willing to talk to her, but I haven't really followed her take on it. I'm guessing if she like really, really likes Trump and thinks he's got like a plan, she probably doesn't agree with what I'm saying, but that's fine. I wouldn't want to like ruin a friendship over a disagreement on, politics. Let's see. If Trump wants to do CNN, so be it. He needs to reach the massive point blank. Yeah, Bob, the point was I'm not opposed to him doing a CNN town hall, but when he does a CNN town hall, he's helping CNN's ratings, which he loves to do. That's fine. The weird part is he's always more gung-ho to do this type of stuff than work with Republicans sometimes. Like, for example, he's already saying he's thinking about dodging the Fox News Republican primary. So this is all I ask. If you're going to dodge the Fox News Republican primary, which is way more crucial, which is probably going to be less biased and more important for the voters to see you debate the other candidates, then it makes you kind of look like an idiot if you're just going to run to CNN and do that. That's just my take on it. But that's who Trump is, though. Like he's the type of person that he, for some reason, wants Democrats to just love him. He wants their approval. He wants their attention. He's better friends with Gavin Newsom than Thomas Massie. Like, that's all it takes to, like, Trump is like a kid who just wants people to like him or something. I don't know. It's like he doesn't want to criticize Gavin Newsom because Gavin Newsom is like nice to him. But he tries to kick an actual conservative out of the party, and he gets mad at Candace Owens for helping. Like, that's the type of person that Trump is. He'd rather please CNN than the Republican voting base. But it's not Trump's fault. People have no standards for him. They let him use them like toilet paper. So Trump is right to do this stuff. It's like, keep mocking your base. Why not? If your base is this weak, keep doing it. Turn down Fox, go to CNN. Do a town hall for Democrats, try to please them. Don't even try to reach out to your voters. Post MSNBC Joy Reid blogs, cry about DeSantis using a Joy Reid article, or a blog. Post COVID cases. Like, to me, it's like Trump's just trying to like humiliation ritual his following. He's like, how fake can I be? How Democrat can I be? Let's see what people put up with. And people are like, I'll put up with anything, sir. So, it is what it is. It's just, I'm not interesting. Richard says it's a lie. What part? What do you think? The Chris Wallace should not be moderating. They should definitely have a better moderator than Chris Wallace. But I need to see Trump debate. This is my personal take. If Trump dodges every Republican debate, there's a 0% chance I'm voting for him. If he'll debate, he's acted like a clown for 3 years and no one's challenged him. In my view, he gets humiliated on the stage. He's literally like a Democrat boomer when it comes to COVID. He's like, COVID cases and my vaccine saved the world. Like, dude, Trump will get absolutely exposed in the debate. So If he could prove me wrong and show me that he's more honest than DeSantis and Larry Elder and all these people, then I would consider voting for Donald Trump. I'm not a 0%. I won't vote for Trump. I want him to prove he's the best. Right now, he's getting worse, dumber. His base is getting more rabid. They don't want to question him. He's the only Republican that no one will challenge, which makes him the most dangerous one. He has the worst rhetoric when it comes to to COVID, and he's going to go on a CNN town hall, but he's not going to do a debate with DeSantis and Larry Elder. There's a 0% chance I'm voting for Trump if he avoids all the debates. If he shows up to the debates and proves that he's the most honest and best candidate, I'll vote for Trump. If he avoids debate, gets mad at Candace Owens, kicks Thomas Massie out of the party, compliments Gavin Newsom, posts COVID case propaganda, posts MSNBC blogs, goes on CNN, I'm not voting for him. Other people will. He might win the nominee. It's not coming from me. So that's my challenge to him. Do some real interviews. CNN town hall, you think they're going to ask him some real questions? It's going to be like a boomer vaccine fest. Trump's going to go there and be like, I sold the vaccine. I saved the world. And they're going to be like, no, Trump, you killed everyone with COVID. And Trump's going to be like, no, Biden and DeSanctimonious killed people with COVID. Florida has so many COVID cases and I love my vaccine. Like, I can't wait to watch the CNN town hall, at least online. I don't really want to give them ratings, but it's like, I'm just not interested in that as far as like voting wise, but other people can. I just don't want to. I want to see him debate. I want to see him get a real interview. Everyone's afraid to challenge this guy. Richard said I sold out. I'm not. Richard, I'll tell you what I would say as a journalist, and you tell me if I sold out or not, okay? Tell me who the sellout is, Richard. Ready? We're going to speak the truth here. Let me know. If I interviewed Donald Trump, I'd compliment him. I'd say nice things. But here's what I'd ask Donald Trump. And this is all true, by the way. In 2018, Bill Gates came out to the press and said that he had a meeting with Donald Trump and told him about universal flu vaccines and this flu vaccine that's going to save everything. And he told the press that Donald Trump offered Bill Gates a position in the White House. In 2019, Donald Trump passed an executive order for universal flu vaccines. The executive order that Donald Trump passed in 2019 was almost identical to what Bill Gates said that he told Trump. So this is my question for Donald Trump, and you tell me who sold out. Is Donald Trump friends with Bill Gates? Did he try to hire Bill Gates? And why did he take his 2018 universal flu vaccine plan and put it into an executive order against Congress? Trump is working with Bill Gates. Trump took money from Pfizer. Trump hired pharmacy lobbyists. I'm not sold out. He is. So me doing journalism and asking him why he did that, no one wants to ask him. This is why he's my least, it's like everyone gets challenged except for him. The base is dumb when it comes to him. The base can't think when it comes to him. Well, then he's the worst candidate. If the base goes brain dead when he comes along because everything he does is shit don't stank, then this movement is a failed movement. It's like a liberal, Democrat, socialist movement that just idol worships a person like they're a biblical character. It's a demonic, satanic movement at this point until people wake up. If people came to their senses and challenged Trump and told the truth and liked him but disliked this, then the movement would be fine. But it's like a demonic idol worship movement if people are like, he's the only person I can't question. We can't ask him interviews. He can't debate. He doesn't want to talk about it. He just wants to sit on his social media and share MSNBC blogs and COVID case propaganda. Like, that's your leader and you don't want to talk about it? It's insane to me. Someone said he surrounds himself with blanks. You could read that if you're on YouTube. At this point, he even took, I'm gonna end in a second, but he even took a jab at Kayleigh McEnany because one of the only good people he hired. I guess Kayleigh McEnany compliments Trump and DeSantis, right? She hasn't completely groveled over Trump's feet like everyone else. And Kayleigh compliments DeSantis as governing, but then she also compliments Trump. And Trump took a little jab at Kayleigh on truth. Like, oh, now you're coming around to me. Like, he can't process that people like both people. And the weird part is a lot of people around him do. They just don't want to tell him. Dana White, the head of UFC, who's friends with Trump, at the press conference, he complimented Trump and he complimented DeSantis. Jorge Masvidal shouted Trump out at the UFC event. He complimented DeSantis and called him the best governor ever, and he called Trump the best president. But when Kayleigh McEnany likes DeSantis and Trump, like tens of millions of people, Trump sees it as disloyalty. So the type of people that Trump's surrounded by are a bunch of grifter yes men idiots. Like, he doesn't like competent people that actually challenge him. He's surrounded by a bunch of like screw-faced people that are like, yeah, Trump, it's a good idea to share Joy Reid blogs. Yeah, that'll really show DeSantis. Like, this is the level of people that Trump has. He doesn't allow anyone else around him. So I would assume that his surrounding people, it's going to be even more disastrous than last time. Because who can tell him the truth? I don't know. Like, who's allowed to be there and be actually a friend of his? You can't complain about having unloyal people if you want that. You get what I'm saying? A loyal person isn't someone who just doesn't turn on you, but it's someone that can keep it real with you. If you only allow people around you that tell you what you want to hear and don't even like you or respect you, Trump is the easiest person to fool. If I really wanted to fool Trump, I would just pretend like I'm obsessed with him, and then I would get access to him, and then he would be around, and then I'd probably get a job. Like, he's the easiest person to fool. Gavin Newsom has fooled him. Fauci fooled him. Birx fooled him. Everyone fools him. Bill Gates fooled him, or their friend. Like, he's easy. It's just like, you just got to compliment him and tell him he's amazing, and then he'll be like, oh, yeah. I'll give you, like, you know, Anthony Scaramucci lasted a week. It's like, where did that guy come from? He immediately ran to CNN. Like, who was that guy? You know, everyone makes mistakes. It's good he got fired, but it's like, you know, I just don't see him as the victim. Like, he's a victim because he doesn't want Thomas Massie and Candace Owens to tell him the truth. So he gets mad at Thomas Massie and Candace Owens, and he surrounds himself by like operatives who are like, yeah, DeSantis has too many COVID cases. DeSantis has COVID cases. He's really DeSanctimonious. Bad job in Florida. Ron DeSanctimonious has too many COVID cases. How dare him? He did really bad. Unlike the swine flu, Joe Biden did a bad job with the swine flu. The swine flu was so bad. I did a good job with COVID, and Obama did the swine flu. And he didn't lock down like me, so he did so bad. And everybody was dying, so he did a bad job with the swine flu because he didn't do what I did. And the sanctimonious, you know, he has so many COVID cases. I mean, of course, I'm not going to tell the truth about the PCR test or how they're counting or the death rate. I mean, I'm such a fraud. I'm not even going to talk about per capita, which is the only thing that matters. I'm just going to post a little thing and say, ew, swine flu, DeSantis. Bad job, COVID case. And people are like, oh my gosh, he's repeating CNN propaganda from 2020. How do you justify the fact that he's now pushing Democrats' COVID case propaganda? Because I want to believe he has a secret plan to save the world. It's like, that's like what most people think. It's such a delusional movement that people don't even say, oh, no, that's not right. They're just like, it has to be right because I just don't want to. I want to assume that he can't ever be this dumb, so I have to make up a hallucinogenic theory for it. It's like, what? You know, even having Candace on, if you guys mentioned, I appreciate Candace for coming on. You know, even she, in my opinion, I kind of told her some things she's never heard because she tries so hard to make excuses for Trump's lies that it ends up getting her in trouble. Trump, like, lied about the vaccine. Then Candace tried to go to the press and say he's too old or he doesn't know what he's doing. Or, like, I'm not going to put words in her mouth, but she tried to basically, like, try to figure out why Trump was lying so much and give him the benefit of the doubt. And then Trump got mad at her trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. You get in trouble trying to make excuses for Trump because he doesn't make sense. So you got to be like, maybe he's too old. Maybe he doesn't know about vaccines. That's not true. He does know about vaccines. He met with RFK before he was in office. So I know Candace and other people are trying to go with this narrative that Trump just loves vaccines because he's older. It's actually not true. And I said that to Candace on the show, and she was like, oh, I didn't even know that. It's like, well, most people don't know it because they just keep repeating excuses for him, trying to help him. But he's not stupid. He does know about vaccines. He's fully aware of it. He's just lying. I don't know. You know, it's an unfortunate reality. It's easier to just be like, oh, he must be too old to know anything, or he must be fooled, or he must just have a secret plan to save the world by giving pharmacy lobbyists power. It's like, that's this movement now? It's crazy. I don't know. It's getting weird. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been the Monday episode of Dream Rare Podcast that almost didn't happen. If you came late, rewind and just watch the first 10 to 15 minutes to learn about the Epstein Wall Street Journal papers that barely got covered. And I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be more leaks. I don't know if the media really cares about this, but I would be interested to see more things come out because I don't know. Maybe this story won't go away. That would be ideal if more things came out. Appreciate you guys. God bless. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for hanging out. Dream Rare Podcast. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk for $5 a month. You can help support me. Support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying. So I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/dreamrarechat or @dreamrarechat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. Dream Rare Chat at Telegram. My Instagram is @dreamrare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And dreamrarelinks.com, that's dreamrarelinks.com, has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at dreamrarelinks.com. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. You already know I'll be back with more content soon.